at some point on board to say enough's enough. We love healthcare, but we don't want to be driven out of healthcare because of the stress that the healthcare causes us. We're doing something wrong. Um, and we've got to fix that. So I would just say again, let's go, let's march, let's get the right people in to see what's going on so we can implement change and quickly, not in 10 years, not in now. It needs to happen now.
Let's not just talk about it, let's do something about it.
Right.
Hello, everyone. Once more, welcome to the All Mercy podcast. We are having part two of the topic addressing violence in nursing facilities or in healthcare facilities. People get hurt, not the patients, but the patients hurting the staff. At what point do we consolidate this? At what point do we put an end to this? Or how do we even put an end to this? We've talked about this before. We're talking about it again, and we will keep talking about it until we find a solution. When staff go in, it is to help the patients, not to get hurt. And again, we have no other than Mr. Kenny Welch to talk more again on this topic. Mr. Kenny, welcome and thank you for your time. We enjoyed you the last time. So many people have asked to have you back and to talk again to give more insight into this violence, into this abuse from residents to staff in healthcare facilities. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
We are so glad you are here. We are honored to have you. From the last time, have you noticed any change in what we talk about? Any changes at all?
I don't think I've seen a lot of changes, but what we have done is started making our staff and other people aware of what's going on. I
Ooh.
think the last podcast definitely helped. And I now have my employees talking about their experiences. So we're starting to at least create an awareness.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Because sometimes some people feel like it is an isolated case and they don't see how rampant or common it can be. So I'm glad that you have taken that step to create awareness. It is not isolated. It is not one thing that happens in one facility. It happens in many places. With all our podcasts, we try to bring an original quote that can match the situation. And the quote for today is: not all hurts are expressed, not all scars are seen, not all feelings can be sensed, yet all can be healed. Please reach out for help or reach out and help. Sometimes people experience or go through this abuse alone, but you're never alone. Reach out and help. If you work in a unit that you don't know how you can stop the abuse, talk about it. Maybe people do not know that it is happening. Sometimes we see a lot of physical abuse, but that is not all. There's also emotional abuse that people do not report, and it leaves heavy scars. Please talk about it. Let's create the awareness together and reach out for help or reach out and help. Now, we're talking about impact on staff mental health. What are the immediate and long term mental health impacts of working in a skilled facility, especially during a staffing crisis that you have seen?
Well, I think obviously we've talked about this. Staff
Mhm.
in many cases are overworked because of the lack of staff. They suffer from high stress, burnout. But I think At this point, there's nobody that addresses that mental side of what happens from working in the facilities.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're going to go and we're going to create this campaign to say we need more help, we have to make sure they include resources for mental health. It's having a counseling with somebody from HR is not the same as getting treatment for mental health issues. And we just need to get more resources for those mental health issues just from working a normal shift. We're not even talking about the violence part of it yet.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Again, if you're just joining us, this is part two, addressing the challenges of skilled nursing facilities, navigating violent behaviors in nursing facilities, especially in long term care. Now, the current state of skilled nursing facilities. Can you give us an overview of the current challenges that we are facing today?
I think we're still having staffing issues. Unfortunately, COVID-19 just brought that out to the open more, but right now we're still having a shortage. And I think we're having a shortage because people don't want to do three times the work that and get paid the same amount of money. I don't. I'm sure they don't either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a staffing issue, and I think also CMS is getting ready to mandate staffing for nursing homes, which is probably unfortunately going to put a lot of facilities out of business because in the rural areas there's no way they can compete or keep up with that staffing mandate. So that's something we're watching very closely because that's going to make a big difference in what we do and how we do it.
I heard about it. I didn't think that it was going forward. I heard about it. And the question or the conflict that is coming up with this issue, I'll give you an example. Let's say I work a 6 to 2 shift and I have to go pick up my baby, maybe from school or somewhere, and you're mandating me to stay because you don't have my relief is not coming in and you're mandating me to stay. And the daycare is calling CPS on me for not picking up my child. How do I go through that conflict? And you said earlier, people don't want to work 3 times as much and get paid the same. Sometimes it's not even like I don't want to work. It's like I'm not able. I am drained. I am depleted. I need to go refuel. It's not that I don't want to. I'm useless being there. So this is a huge conflict, especially when I know that I have stretched myself beyond my limits and you're mandating me to stay over. How do I regulate that? This will be a tough one to implement.
Well, and I think we need to stop pretending that, well, let's just pay them extra money and they'll stay. Staff deserve time off as much as anybody else does. Why do we want to work them so much that we're chasing them out of this industry? That's what we need to stop doing. We need to realize that these profits we need to reinvest in our employees because the employees are the reason we're making the profits.
Whew, I'm glad you say that. I don't even know what to say. Like I have so much locked in. It's just making me think when I used to work in these facilities and we run short and there is nobody. Some because most of the time when you mandate me to stay and let's say I stay, let's say I call my neighbors, I call the streets, I beg people, please go pick up my child, please go do this. They're calling CPS on me. Because if I leave my job when you're mandating me to stay, you call it patient abandonment, and I lost my career from where I feed my own kids from because you report me to the state that I abandon patients. So it's seeming like you want me to abandon my kids than abandon the patients. So let's say I make something work and someone is able to pick up my kids. Do you think I'm coming back the next day? No, I will not. And you're going to lose me.
Right. And the other side of that is All that stress we just created for you, trying to get you to work an extra shift. Who's helping you with that mental health and that stress of, I don't want CPS to call me. I don't want to be charged with abandoning my patients. So it's a no-win situation for the employee.
And money doesn't fix it. The extra, what do they call it? I'll give you time and have, or I'll give you a gift card of $100, or it doesn't fix situations like that.
No, no, it
If I am
doesn't.
an employee, it makes me even think that, oh, you just think my problem is money.
Right, right. Well, and it doesn't say anything about us looking out for the well-being of our staff.
No, no. It says, okay, I will tell you one thing. I worked where staff was so tired, made a mistake. It wasn't a serious mistake, but it was a mistake. It was not any harm to patient or anything. But facilities, oh, you didn't document this. This was done. This we are not catching this payment. Or staff is like, I was drained. I was so tired. I was tired. I could not even drive home. I had to sleep in my car because I did not trust myself driving home. Yes, I made the mistake. And guess what they told her? Well, you were getting paid. So, yes, we are writing you up. So, it's all
But
about pay. I abandoned my family at home. It was not even a mandate. You guys begged me and I agreed to stay. And I get right.
but and the sad part about that is we created that situation that caused you to make that error because we worked you too much. And we think we can just throw money at it and that's going to fix it. It's not. That's the things we need to dive into and solve those issues.
We created the situation. Do we own it? And the thank you is see you tomorrow. And you said it right. What about that mental aspect of it? Do we take care of it? What about the stress of them? Give me 5 minutes. Let me call around and make sure somebody is picking up my child. And after 5 minutes, they have not got anybody to pick up their children. They are calling left. They are calling right. They are stressed. Then maybe they finally find somebody and they are telling the neighbors, I'll be home by 7. I'll get them from you. But they can't be home until maybe 11 and the neighbors have to sleep and the neighbors is keeping their children. And maybe the children needs to be fed. They need to shower. The chaos behind the scene is what the administration does not care to look at. Then now you have this person who is working 16 hours, who did not plan to work 16 hours, who is calling their own doctor's appointment and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm canceling my appointment. I cannot be here today. I cannot make my appointment. And the doctor's office is angry, like you're giving us late notice. We could have scheduled somebody in your. We are causing a whole trend of something that administration does not see. All they see is, I need you here. You are staying to continue taking care of these patients. Who is taking care of you? Who is taking care of your mind?
Those are issues we've got to address because we're creating a more stressful environment for our employees than is already there.
And we think we are paying them. How much?
That, but it, but what amount of money satisfies the mental issues that we're causing our staff? There isn't.
And I've seen cases where the administrator come and say, oh, I'm here with you guys. I'm going to stay in the building with you guys. But that's all he does. Stay in the building, in his office,
Right.
and turn around and leave. And said, oh, I was there with you guys. You didn't stay alone. I was there with you guys. What did you do? Did you even help me give out water? Did you even help me answer the call bell, even if you cannot? What did you do? Sometimes we need more than the money. Sometimes we need more than the presence. And yes, lack of staff is increasingly causing these mental health issues. Because let's say I'm already drained, I'm already tired. Now this I have short fused. Maybe the patience to my patient is not even there anymore. And the patients see this. Patients are you still here? The patients see this. And this leads me to the next question. Quality of patient care. How do staffing such as this impact quality of care provided in nursing facilities? When you're working me 16 hours, 3 days in a row, what kind of care do you think I can provide?
Well, I think we just talked about it. We're creating the shortage of staff by not taking care of our staff, and it's a never ending cycle that's not going to get better if we don't do something and do something quickly. We're creating these stressful environments for our staff where we say you've got to stay and work 16 hours. We don't care about your kid. Figure it out. Um, we don't. We're not going to. We're going to just pay you and say, "Well, you get paid to work. Why isn't that good enough?" And then we're shocked that people don't want to come back and don't want to work at the environment we created. So we have to change the environment, and we have to do that by providing a safe environment for our staff to work in, but finding more creative ways to attract staff and by making them work short and extra and not care about their lives is certainly not the way. We're going about it the wrong way, completely backwards, honestly.
I think what we are doing is mandating them to stay and think we have fixed the problem.
Right.
Because I think we are instead creating increased workload or work overload, stress, burnout. Because when there are not enough staff members to handle the workload, the existing employees often have to take on the extra responsibilities. This can lead
Right.
to high stress levels and, of course, eventually burnout. And that's not just all decreased job satisfaction. We are constantly feeling overwhelmed. And, of course, when my job satisfaction is decreased, my morale is already decreased.
Right. Right. And if you're stressed out about who's going to get my children, who's going to take care of my loved ones that I take care of, how effective are you at work anyway? You're
I'm not.
not.
I'm constantly thinking because you're putting me in a in a very difficult situation. Do I
Right.
want daycare to call CPS on me, or do I want to stay here and take care of this patient? If I leave, my boss will call a job abandonment, and they'll call the state and say, "Hey, Mercy abandoned the patient while on duty," and they take my license away. Or do I want to go and lose the license and go take care of, like, you're putting me in a tight situation. What do they expect them to do? This is mental crisis. We're causing them to mentally break down. They're already so stressed. This is not the solution. Mandating staff to stay.
And
And I have
then
seen some patients who will be like, don't touch me. You've been here all morning.
we're shocked nobody wants to come work for us in an environment we're creating.
I think we talked about this the last time that even if we want to think about money wise, right? Working McDonald's is paying an hour more than some CNAs are getting paid. And they don't go through all this. Why do you think after you make me abandon my kids, I'll call it abandonment, and had to beg the neighbors or call the daycare people because what you're paying me extra, it does not even cover what I'll pay daycare extra. It doesn't. So
Right.
I call the daycare people and say, please, can you wait till this time? I will be there and pay them extra. And by the time I come out and pick up my kids, those daycare people, they're already looking at me funny. Like, what kind of a parent is this? Then the neighbor is like, oh, Lord, there she goes again. Maybe the neighbor will not even pick it because this is not the first time I'm calling them to pick up my child. They'll be like, oh, that's her. I'm not picking. I have my own things to do this evening. The last time she told me she would come at 7, she didn't come until 10. Now I am stranded. So let's say I figure out a way and finally made the job, then come back to whoever have my kids and take them home. Maybe it's too late to even make dinner for them. It's not only what the daycare think about me. It's not only what my neighbors think about me. It's not only what the kids think about me. Like, mom, why couldn't you pick us up? Mom. And we know kids these days, they are very verbal. What do I think about myself? The internal crisis in there. Am I a good parent? Am I a good worker? Am I a good friend? Am I a good neighbor? All those conflicts in there. Who is helping me with that? And
And,
you think I'll wake up the next day and dance and come to my job.
and then we expect you to go to sleep and get up and come do it again.
Hmm. While you're showing me that it is just a job, you don't want me to just a job.
Right.
Wow. Hmm. Training and development in your facility, or where you see or where you know about, what measures can be taken to improve the training and development of staff in these facilities, that we can still perform high quality care with the crisis and with our mental status.
I think first we have to put in the effort to actually care about our employees. And I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about a pizza party or a gift card. I'm talking about a genuine, we care about your mental health. We want you to come in, we want you to be able to work your shift without stress and go home when you're supposed to. We're able to plan our appointments around work. Why is it any different for them? And we have got to create an environment that people want to come work for, not the other way around. And right now, we're creating our own staffing crisis by creating additional stress on our employees. Then we're shocked that they don't want to continue working. So
Especially
that's what
if that mandates me to stay. I bet you many of them, when that mandate comes, many of them will seek new employment, maybe different careers as a whole.
of course. Why do they want to continue with the stress knowing the employer is not going to do anything to help them?
Where does that leave the patients?
Exactly.
Where does
Yeah.
that leave patients? Because we are talking about patient abuse to staff, but we are abusing the staff.
Right.
Where does that leave the patients?
So if we're talking about training and development, it's got to include resources to take care of our staff, which includes providing access to mental health. It's stressful enough working without all the other factors that we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't we investing in mental health for our employees and making sure that they're well rested to come back the next day and do their best? That's where we have to start.
Yeah. And oh, it's sad because if you see carriers like pilots, they are not even allowed to work overtime because they need that mental state. They need that rest. They need that high cognitive functioning to be able to come back the next day and give it their all. But we are not doing that for our staff. We are not. We're expecting them to work like robots. We're expecting them to go on and go on and still smile and still give it their all. And they are tired. And maybe they may be short fused. Maybe they become a little bit impatient. Everybody will, just going like that. And patients take advantage of that and
Right.
react to that, because what are we projecting, what are we portraying? Patients take advantage and react to that, like, oh, I asked you for this has happened. I asked you for a cup of ice a long time ago. Are you just bringing it now? The patient took the cup of ice and threw it at the nurse's face. The patient does not care if you're short staff.
No.
They want it now. And that is abuse right there. But look at the cause of it. What happened? What happened? Is the patient right? No. But is it their fault? They don't care what happened. They've been ringing the lights for 1 hour for just a cup of ice, and you're just now bringing it. And what do you want to explain? We are not going to stand there and tell the patient, oh, I'm alone, we don't have nobody. They see it. They see it. So it is very sad. Financial challenges, financial stability. How do the financial constraints affect the operations and sustainability of our facilities?
Well, I think that in most instances, of course, the profits that we get go to the owners. And what I would like to see is them reinvesting that in the staff. The staff are the reason that these our companies are making money because they're taking care of the residents. Why aren't we reinvesting that in the resources for the staff? And if I don't have the resources to provide to my staff, they're either going to go somewhere else, but they're certainly not going to continue to work in the same situation. So we need financial resources from our company to help with our employees, and a pizza party or a couple dollars more an hour are not what we need. Uh,
No.
we need serious resources to help. But it all starts again with us caring about the employees.
Mm-hmm.
I realize we have patients to take care of, but why aren't we working? Why aren't we putting the money back into resources to
Mm-hmm.
create the environment people want to come work for? That's what I want to change. That's what I want to do to where the owners say, you know what, here we're going to give you the additional financial resources to create that culture and that environment where people are lining up to come work here because they know we take care of our employees. That's what I want to create in this industry.
Do you think you'll see that one day? This has been ongoing before COVID, and it just got worse with COVID or after COVID. Do you think you'll see that one day?
I don't know. I Because we have such a for-profit industry in the United States for healthcare, something's going to have to change because we're going to run out of staff to take care of our patients. And we're doing it ourselves. We talked about this earlier. We're creating an environment nobody wants to work in, yet shocked we can't find staff. So at some point we've got to figure it out. And I'm hoping at some point it changes to that level of job security for our staff.
Absolutely. Because the truth is that even when we are talking about staff abuse by patients, staffing shortages in healthcare facilities will exacerbate the problem of patient abuse towards staff. Like I just told you, they're waiting long to even, I'll give you an example. Food is here. The cafeteria brings the food in the cart and everything. Normally, the patients are still able to eat when it is hot. But for those patients who do not go to the cafeteria, who eat in the unit, and the food is there, and it's just one person handing out all those trays to how many patients, before you know, somebody will be done eating while somebody has not even got their food. And what happened? Oh, you don't like me. I always know that you didn't like me. You always serve them first and serve me last. The food is cold. Take it out of here. I have had a patient take the tray, the food tray, and hit the nurse with it. And hit the, yeah. And not only that, nurses are rushing. The aides are rushing, like, let me finish this quickly. Let me finish this quickly. What kind of care are we doing? And these patients know what is going on. They know what is going on. And we are not only putting them at risk, but we are opening the doors for them to further abuse us. And that's something that we don't want. But we are opening the doors. We are not entertaining it, but we are saying, yeah, increase workload. Okay. You can abuse me. Okay. Reduce quality of care. Okay. Patients are sleeping on sheets that has not been changed for what, 2, 3, 4 days, and it is soiled. And then we expect the patients to be happy with us. It's violence, physical violence, emotional violence that we are receiving. And most of it is stem from. Mhm.
And we're creating those issues that cause those situations. Again, we have to go back to caring about our staff and our patients by getting the right resources in there that make people want to come to work.
When they send us patient, we are not even able. Every day we are looking at the business sheets like, oh, we are below our capacity. We are below our capacity. But why are we not looking at the staff and say we are below? Like we cannot take one more patient. We are still looking for admissions and we don't have the manpower. We come to the business office. How many admissions today? Only five? How many admissions today? Only one? How many? We don't have the manpower to take care of them.
Right.
We, we don't. Oh, Lord. How funding solutions, what potential solutions exist to address the financial challenges faced by these facilities?
Honestly, I don't know of any. I think we're going to have to literally advocate and start a movement. And if it winds up us going to Washington, D.C. to explain it to people that control CMS, that's where we need to go. But we need to make everybody aware of these issues, whether it's violence amongst from the patients to the staff.
It's increasing. It's
It is
a lot of research. I have read a lot of research, and I am with you. Let's create that awareness. Let's not just talk about it, let's do something about it.
right,
I am
right.
ready.
I am ready, and I think everybody who works in healthcare is ready. And again, nobody wants to go to work and be stressed out. And we're not, and we haven't even really hit on the violent part of it yet. We're just talking about a daily going to work, being begged to work extra, and then all these other issues that come with it.
No, I don't want to come back from work with a black eye because a patient hit me because maybe I was tired, I did something wrong, or they just who they are, the patients. It's wrong, but we are opening the doors for them to do us wrong.
Right.
It's wrong. It's not good what they do, but we are opening the doors for them. We're not making excuses. If you're just joining us, we are not making excuses for patients' behaviors. We are saying that how do we contribute to this patient's abuse to staff? We are saying that how do we want to stop patients' abuse to staff, yet we are abusing the staff ourselves because that is abuse. That is abuse. Are we just trying to run a facility for profit? Or are we trying to run a facility that cares about their staff? And mandating staff to stay over is clearly not the solution. Because after that work, when that staff signed in to come 6 to 2, they have a life after that. Maybe they are going to school. Maybe they are going to be home with their kids. They need to pick up kids from school. They have a life after that. Something is going on. And if you're telling them that nothing else matters but you staying here and taking care of that patient, then that is wrong. That is gross. That is abuse. Yet, we are working in a safe place and we are promoting a safe environment free from abuse. And yet, you want to mandate me to stay after I have worked 16 hours, 16 hours, 16 hours. And today I tell you, I am so sorry I could not because I know that I have reached my limit. Yet you're mandating me to stay. And I go to a patient's room. Maybe I hang the IV wrong. Maybe I do something wrong. I'm tired. My brain needs a break. You hold that against me. The patients hold that against me. And the patient can even physically hold that against me. And what support do I get? Oh, we are paying you for that extra time that you stayed over. That's all I get. I am wrong. They write me up, they fired me, they report me to the state after mandating me to stay over. That is not the solution. That is not the solution. We are creating something that we will not be able to handle. We need a solution fast and faster. We
I
need a
agree.
solution. Yeah, we need a solution. Mm, mm. And it's not just the facilities making the solution, it's the regulatory environment, the regulatory bodies, the compliance. How do the regulatory requirements impact the day to day operations in the facilities?
Well, they play a big role. I mean, CMS mandates everything for the nursing homes, and then they send surveyors out to make sure we're in compliance. And they also don't care that we don't have enough staff. They also don't care that our staff are stressed out. They want to know why everything's not done, and they'll write deficiencies regardless of the explanation. And I think now they're making up for the time they couldn't during COVID. So they're out in the facilities a lot. And if you're already struggling with staffing, you're not going to get everything done like you're supposed to get it done. You're not going to get it done. They're doing the best they can. So regulatory compliance is another issue that we face. Um, but again, it goes back to if we're creating that environment that the staff want to come work at, maybe we're able to be better regulatory compliance.
And when they come, like you say, it is a deficiency. Even when we do the root cause analysis, they are not trying to say staff was lacking. They are trying to see how many staff, who was the patient, who was the nurse taking care of this patient, who was the aide, where were you when this patient fell,
Right.
and patient call light is on, patient is on the floor, patient fell and break their hip, and maybe patient fell and was sitting on that floor for maybe 15 minutes before somebody even came. It's not like that in those 15 minutes the staff was having a party somewhere. They were busy with another patient. And then you say high risk patients, put them closer to the nursing stations. So are you saying that I should not take care of the other patients, or I should take care of these patients better than the other ones? Or what are you saying? Because at the end now it is getting confusing what we expect from staff.
It
Patient
is.
girl has been there for 15 minutes. I am there putting up this G tube. I am there hanging this IV. I am there doing this. And we forget that each time you pass on that floor, you see that nurse up and down, up and down. That nurse has not even taken a break. Do you know that there are staff members who punch out to take a break and are still working? Or maybe the break time is documentation time, then they go and punch back in. They have not eaten. They hide their water bottle somewhere unseen by the nursing station, and then we mandate them to stay. And when something happens, CMS comes out. Deficiency, deficiency. Number one, number two, number sad.
It's a rough industry. I mean, it's and we've got to advocate to make it better. We just do. We have to make everybody aware and make it better for everybody, the patients, the staff.
Sad. Something needs to be done. Mr. Kenny, we have to research, we have to create awareness, we have to do something so that something can be done.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, I care about the mental health of everyone, patients and staff alike. We are seeing more professionals seeking help these days. I may be stressed out, I may be emotional in turmoil and all. I may learn coping skills. I may learn how to manage my stress level. But if at the end of the day I am still going back to that high stress environment, even though my perception towards that is changing, but if nothing is changing from the exposure, I am still going to be stressed out because the immediate trigger is still there. So I care about the mental health of staff, which sometimes we send them to employee health, and they have one session. One patient, one staff told me, who is my patient, that when she went to employee health, it was a 30-minute session, and the lady she was talking to was sleeping. The lady she was talking to was sleeping. And after 3 sessions, that's it. The facility said, oh, you have to go pay if you need more. How are we caring for their mental health? We are abusing them.
I think you hit it on the head though earlier. No amount of mental health. We can send them to hours of therapy. But if we bring them back to the same environment that's not changed, it's not going to matter. If we're serious about the mental health of our staff, not only do we provide the resources for them to go seek that help, but then we have to change the environment that caused the stress to begin with. Otherwise, it's for nothing.
Yes, yes, we have to. Do you have any idea on what kind of policy changes to advocate for better support?
I think we just have to keep making everybody aware. We have to get somebody's attention that
Yes,
can help us change the environment and change the situations for our employees. Otherwise, it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. And we have to get more staff that are impacted by this, which is probably almost everybody
yeah.
at some point, on board to say enough's enough. We love healthcare, but we don't want to be driven out of healthcare because of the stress that the healthcare causes us.
And if we are looking at it only in a profit standpoint of view, we are going to experience a huge loss because when the staff is not there, who is going to make that profit for the facility?
But I think those companies are missing the point. If we talk about the things we're talking about implementing, they're going to make so much money they're not going to know what to do with themselves seriously, because we will have created an environment staff want to work in, that residents want to come to. They're going to make their money, I promise. But we have to put our staff and our residents before profits in order to help this industry survive.
Yeah, we have to. We have to impact on staff mental health of staff. What are the immediate and long-term mental health impacts of working in, especially during a staffing crisis? I think we've talked a lot about it already, especially during staffing crisis. That's when we see that they get burnt out. We have an aging workforce who are near retirement and they are still working short staff. Physically, they cannot. Because of short staff, facilities do not even take the time to train staff well because, oh, I need them on the floor. Oh, I need them on the floor. And they go to the floor without good training, without adequate training. And they are not, sometimes they are not able to sense when patient is trying to abuse them because they have not been trained. We read something to them one day and send them to the floor because we are so short staffed, and they go there, they don't know how to use their own protective mechanisms, and they endure abuse from patients. They endure abuse, stress, anxiety, depression. You see people are still on orientation and they leave a job. That tells you something. That tells you something. They are still on orientation, but they're working alone because of the increased workload, reduced quality of care, higher stress levels, vulnerability to abuse. Their overwhelmed staff may be less equipped to manage difficult patients and behaviors. Especially this one, they are ill equipped to manage all these difficult patients, and we are exposing them to more abuse because we do not take the time to train them. We're just like, oh, go into the den, go and meet the wolves. And we sit in our office and watch cameras and say, you should have done this, you should have done this, you should have done this. It's sad. For all of you watching this, I hope that you find time to think about it, you process it, and you share it. Many people do not know that this is what happened in healthcare facilities. Or maybe you have a loved one in a healthcare facility and you go there and meet substandard care. You go there and find something wrong. You're thinking, this is a bad place. It's not a bad place. It's that we are not doing right by the staff. You may go there and feel like, my dad has been laying on this bed. I met him in this position and I've been here for an hour. Nobody has come to reposition him. Maybe it's because they are going from one room to another, repositioning people, and his turn is still coming because it may just be two people during that period. You may say, why is my patient still falling? Why is my brother still falling? Why is this? Nobody is watching him. Maybe it's because by the time they get to him, he's already fallen. You may say he's not getting better. Why is he having bed sores? Maybe it's because by the time they clean the 5, 4, 6, 10 people ahead of him, by the time they get to him, he's already sitting in his disease. You may say, why is my husband, yes, he has dementia, but why is he so violent? Why is he hitting staff? Why are they calling me every day that he's beating staff? Maybe it's because there have not been enough manpower to sit down and study his needs and understand what he wants and at what time to give him that individualized care that he needs. Maybe not. The manpower is lacking. That is the truth. And that is exposing staff to abuse from the patients, from themselves, from the people who are supposed to protect them most, their administration. Together, we can all help to make this better. We can all help. And maybe the part that you can play in this is just by creating awareness. It may reach somebody's ears that they have heard before and before, but hearing it again and again and again by different people. Maybe it may just be that one time that you create that awareness that it will reach the right ears, or it may just be the right time that it reaches somebody's ears. It is concerning. What will our patients become tomorrow when we do not have the staff to take care of them? When nobody wants to do nursing anymore? When they switch careers because of work overload? Let us all join in creating the awareness so that we can take care of staff, and staff can take care of the patients. How do you see, how does this current environment affect job satisfaction that you've seen in your facility, Mr. Kenny?
Well, I think we're still able to get some good results, but I don't think we're getting the results we want. If you have unhappy staff, you're going to have unhappy patients. And it And if you have overworked staff, you're going to have unhappy patients. And all those things you just talked about are what is the current environment of what we have right now. So I'm again going to ask everybody to help make this an awareness issue to where we're letting everybody know what's going on, so we can propose and get the change we need to help. Um, and it's easy to say, well, that's just a difficult family. My challenge to my staff always is, let's fix them so they're not a difficult family. Let's address their issues. They're
Mm-hmm.
a difficult family because they're advocating for their parents. We should be advocating for our staff and advocating for their parents at the same time. And we can't do that if the environment we create isn't suitable for a stable work environment. And the additional stress we're adding to our staff, and we're doing it as an industry, is only making it worse. So if we want satisfactory results, regulatory and good reviews, we have to create that environment that our staff want to come work at every day, and at the same time make sure they are well rested to come back the next day and not overwork them.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe they are a difficult family because nobody has sat with them for 5 minutes to listen to them. Most of the
Right.
time, these families come, they tell us what their family members like, they tell us what their needs are. They tell us if you wake Mr. John Doe up at 6 a.m., you will get the worst side of him. And because we are rushing care, we are begging night shift to help wake some people up while day shift come and continue. Somebody is waking Mr. John Doe up at 6 a.m. when they told us, the family clearly told us not to. And Mr. John Doe is angry, is kicking, is fighting, and we go home with a black eye because we do not have the staff. The day shift do not have the staff to wait 10 a.m. while they are doing other things with other patients to wake this patient up. Maybe we are losing that individualized care. That is why we are getting so much abuse from the staff, because we are not treating them how they want to be treated. It is true that we may not meet everybody's needs, but when we look at that care plan upon admission, let us be honest to ourselves. With the current manpower that we have, are we able to take care of these patients' needs? If we are not, let us say we cannot take care of the needs at this time. But we are looking at, let's fill the beds, and we are not looking at the consequences it will have for our staff. And yet we want to promote wonderful quality care. We want to make money at the detriment of our staff. We need to stop. Something has to be done. It's not something that I will fix in one day. It's not something that you will fix, Mr. Kenny. It's something that needs a collective effort, not just by us, but some policies need to change. Some things need to change that me and you don't have the power to. Those who have the power to. I wish the person who is making that policy and approving certain things, Mr. Kenny, can come to a facility one day, 2 day, and see what is really going on and go back and write policies. I wish they can do a tour, they can get out of their offices and say this money is dedicated to, we're going to visit some hospitals, some nursing homes, some skilled nursing facilities, maybe 3 a day, maybe 4 a day. It's not just to go stand at the administrator's office and say, hey, what's going on? Go tour the units, go look at the staffing sheets, go see the kind of patients. Stay in a facility, not in an office, but in a unit for 3-4 hours and see what is going on before you go back and write policies. Can we do that? Can we fight for that?
That's what we need to do. We've got to get those people that make policies into our nursing homes to see what's going on. And they don't need to talk to me as the administrator. They need to talk to the CNAs and the nurses, the housekeepers, the dietarians. That's who they need to talk to, not me.
I wish your staff get to watch this, Mr. Kenny. That way they know that you're rooting for them, you're voting for them. That way they know that you care about them. If you did not care about them, we will not be talking about this.
Right.
I hope they watch this. And who knows, they may come up with some other ideas of how they think we can do better to make them better. Because the job satisfaction is not there. It's not been there for a long time. I am telling you, sometimes I wonder why some of them still go to work. It's just that loyalty. And when you ask them, this is beyond getting a paycheck. This is caring for their patients. And this is caring. This is trusting that my administrator care about me. Let me go in and see what I can do. My administrator is, when they say all hands on deck, yes, it is all hands on deck. My administrator is asking me how can they help. My administrator genuinely wants me to be okay. Those are some of the reasons why some people still get up and go to work, in spite of the abuse that they get. So thank you for doing this. I hope your staff watch it and know that they care about them. And when you think about the patient experience and the patient outcome, how do the challenges in skilled nursing facilities affect the outcome? I think we already talked about it.
We did. And I think one of the suggestions, I had to renew my preceptor license, which means I can train new administrators. And one of the suggestions they had, have the AIT spend the night in the facility as a patient. And I was like, oh, that is the best thing ever. Let them experience what
Whoa!
it's really like to live there.
Whoa! And see if they want to do it.
The next AIT I get is spending the night in the facility to get an idea of what it's like to live there as a patient. I love that idea. So
I love it. I love. Let me share with you something. When my very first LVN experience in clinical, the clinical instructor told us for our next clinical, come with extra underwear, come with extra uniform. None of us knew what they were planning to do. So when we got there for our next clinical, guess what they did? Lord have mercy. Wait, they had got some diapers, wet them with water, and made each of us sit in there. And we know this is water, but it was still so cold. It was still so gross. They made us sit, like we sat on it for like 15 to 20 minutes in heavy soaked diapers because they wanted us to get our patient's experience. We sat there. By the time we went to change, it's cold, it's what, and just the fact that it was an incontinent brave, like some of us got so emotional and we are angry at them, like, okay, I feel it, can I go take it off? They're like, no, sit there. And they're timing us 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Then they're like, okay, go change, to let us know that this is what our patients go through when we leave them sit in their feces, in their urine for this long. And not only that, we cannot even tolerate sitting in water for that long, but the patients are sitting in urine, in feces. They develop not only the smell, but the chemicals in them burn them. They develop sores, which becomes painful. And some of them go to stage 1 ulcer, stage 2 ulcer, stage 3 ulcer, requiring antibiotics. requiring longevity in their stay. Maybe they were just coming for IV and therapy and go, but now they develop all this, and the teacher is like, "You're mad at me for making you do that. Some of your patients will be mad at you for letting them stay." And we are like, "This will never happen. Not on my watch. Once my patient go, I'm going to change it right away. I'm going." How do I do that when I am the only person with 10 patients to change, to clean
Right.
up? How do I clean them right away? So I think this part of your training, making your administrator in training stay in the facility overnight as a patient. Oh my God.
I'm
That
excited.
that is
Excuse me. I'm excited to know what they experience the next day.
don't be surprised. It may be the end of their career for some of them. Be like, no, I can't do this. One of them will be like, no, I don't know what I can fix here. Especially for something that has been ongoing. It has been a talk left and right. I feel like we are talking. I don't know if we are talking to the right people. Or are we just talking and not doing something? So this leads me to the next question. Innovations, solutions, technology. How can we leverage to address some of these challenges?
I think we have to just again create that awareness and not stop with we can do a million podcasts. But if it's not getting to the right people, it's the same thing we talked about, all the mental health issues we can get our staff if we don't change the environment. We have to continue to create an awareness and even a movement if we need to, but we got to get people that make the regulations into the nursing homes to see. Don't come to my office just to take a picture because you need a photo op.
Mm-mm.
Go talk to my staff.
Mm-hmm.
That's who I want you to visit with. Go see what they.
You're not hiding anything. You're not saying, "Oh, we are good, we are this." It's all vibrant, it's all colorful, it's beautiful. Talk to my staff.
Right. Go see the real picture. Go follow them for an hour. Watch them do what you just said. I'm going to make sure all these people are changed right away. Go see how it's impossible for them to do that. Go
Bingo.
see how it's impossible for a nurse to give medications to somebody that doesn't want to take medications, but you have a 2 hour window to get everybody's medication done. That's who I want you to see. That's who I want you to watch. I want you to watch the resident care from the people that do it.
Let's say 7 to 9 medication time. That 2 hour window, 7 to 9 medication time for, let's say, 20 patients is 2 hours. Some patients are fighting, some patients don't want to take medication. In between, the nurse is giving medication. This call bell is, the CNA is over there, this person is falling. This, what is the priority? That 2 hour window. Let them follow them and see how possible that can be done.
Right. That's what I want them to see. And we need to make that push in every nursing home in the United States. Every single one of them, we need to get our lawmakers out to see what happens.
We need to, Kenny. Kenny, have you solved, have you had a moment where you think that you've fixed the challenge for staff crisis? It may be just for one day. Can you share that with us?
One of the things that I tell my staff when I first go into a building is I want your family to be more important than this job. If you have a sick child, if you have your mom or your dad or brother or sister or somebody who is sick, I want you to go home and take care of that.
Where were you when I was walking the floor?
If if your
Were
if
you
your child is having
feel
their
like they made us feel guilty for even calling, and like I would take a phone and call, I will put it down. I will take a phone to call, I will put it down. I will text, I will erase. I'll go and watch the child. Let me see if he's getting better. Let me see if he's getting better. I will call until I'll be like, oh my god, this, if I don't call somebody now, I will not be able to call you with that 2 hour part. Then I will call and feel guilty about being home with my sick child.
Let me ask you this, Mercy. How effective are you going to be at work if you have a sick child at home?
Not at all.
You're
Not at
not.
all.
So I
Not
tell them to go take care of these issues. If your child is having their second grade graduation. Why aren't you there?
Why aren't
Why
you there?
why are you at work? Go. They're only going to do it once. Go. We'll figure it out. Now, it has created some issues, but I want my people to understand their family should be more important than this job. Seriously, it has to be that way, and that's the environment I try to create. So that's we see a lot of happy employees because we let them take time with their children when they're sick because you're not going to be effective. You're not going to take the best care of the patients. And I'm making you more stressed by keeping you at work. So,
Kenny, my last job, I came home. The hours and the days were a little bit challenging with my family situation. I came home, I looked at my kids, I looked at my home. I told myself it's not worth it. I did not have another job. I did not have another source of income other than that. Okay, my husband is there. I said it's not worth it. My husband came back from job and felt like, you're quiet, you're okay. I said no. I feel like I'm not present enough. It's not worth it. It's like, yeah, it's not worth it. I did not give it another thought. I did not be like, oh, let me give you my 2 weeks notice. Or it is not worth it. It is not worth it. It is not worth it. Get someone. They will get agency. They'll get somebody. Because while they are thinking about the patients or the residents or the clients, you should be thinking about your family. Is it worth it? Or is it not worth it? Your family come first. If I am at work and my kids are in the street, it is not worth it. Or if I am not home raising my kids because I am always at a job, what values am I instilling in those kids? Have you ever seen a parent look at their child and they don't know that child? Like, my child did that. You were not there. You don't know what they can do and what they cannot do. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? So let's look ahead. What is the most important step that needs to be taken? We've talked about that. Awareness, awareness, awareness until we reach the right ears. So if we need to march, I am ready. Let's take care of the staff so staff can take care of the patients. Above all, their mental needs. Because we are depleting them physically and mentally. Is it worth it? Maybe I should just go be a receptionist somewhere and even make half of what you are giving me and make my life worth it and make my family worth it and be happy and take care of my mental health, because what is my health without my mental health? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? I will tell you something, Mr. Kenny. Many administrators are not like you. I'll say that. Many can say this just for saying purposes, but do not genuinely care about their staff. But I can see the authenticity in you. I can see that you care about your staff. And I hope your staff know how much you care about them. I hope so. It is not just about business. It is about taking care of all of us, patients and staff alike. What can our listeners do to support skilled nursing facilities to contribute to positive in this sector, sir?
help us create this awareness. Help us bring attention to this. And yeah, going back to something you said earlier, asking if it's worth it. Don't our employees deserve some peace in their lives as well? Life is hard enough. But when you have to get up every day and go to work because you have to provide for your family, and that's the number one reason why you're stressed, we're doing something wrong. Um, and we've got to fix that. So I would just say again, let's go, let's march, let's get the right people in to see what's going on so we can implement change and quickly, not in 10 years, not in now. It needs to happen now. So, share this podcast, get involved. Come on, let us know some ideas you might have as well. I mean, certainly we don't have all the answers, but the answers need to come from the frontline staff,
Mm-hmm.
not just us. I mean, we can sit around all day and talk about what we think's best for the staff, but if we never include the staff, how do we know this what's best for the staff
Right.
without asking their opinion?
Yeah. That's why the next podcast, me, you, Kenny, we're going to have at least two staff. I think one of them have been abused. Yeah. To join us for the next one. And I think from there we can start saying what we want to do. Thank you
Tell-
so much for your time.
Yeah, come tell your story. We want to hear it.
You heard that from your administrator. From your administrator. He's not the administrator who does not care about you. He's not the administrator who wants to put those things under the rugs and tell CMS that, oh, it's fine. 100% we are meeting policies. 100% we are meeting regulations. Your administrator care about you. Come tell your story so everybody can hear it and we can make more people become aware of what is going on. And thank you so much, sir, for your time. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate you. We truly appreciate these discussions. Hope the right ears hear them. And we will be back for part three sometime. That will be announced. And again, all these issues, let us try and stop residents, patients' abuse towards staff. Sometimes that is hard because we are creating that door for it to happen. Staffing issues has been going on for a long time. Many people have written stories about it. Many people have written debilitating experiences about it. Especially since COVID, it felt like it just got worse. It picked up, it goes back down. It is an up and down thing. Are we addressing it enough? Is it reaching the right ears? Are we making policies to make sure that staff is safe? Or are we just wanting to run healthcare as a business for profit without caring enough for our staff? And I'll say this again, our quote for the day: not all hurts are expressed, not all scars are seen, not all feelings can be sensed, yet all can be healed. Please reach out for help or reach out and help to our staff, to those who are getting abused, to those who have been abused, to those who are in those vulnerable positions. Your administrator said it. Come and tell your stories. We want to hear it. When many people hear it enough, maybe the right people will hear it and those things can be fixed. We don't want your mental health getting affected all the time from some things that can be avoided. What is health without mental health? Again, it's been All Mercy Podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Let us share, let us sensitize the public, let us make everyone become aware. As rampant and as common as it is, I'll tell you, some people do not know the gravity of it. So let us share this. Let us create a movement and see how we can fix this, not just by talking about it. Thank you so much. Bye bye for now.